Hey guys, I hope you enjoy this week's sermon. If you're interested in getting connected here more at the sanctuary, you can visit us at our website at tscwest.org, or you can check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of the things. I hope you enjoy this message.
If you've been tracking with us the last several weeks, we're in the season of Advent, and so far we've talked about peace and hope and joy. And today we're talking about love. Everybody say love. Love makes you do crazy things. Right? Anybody ever been in love? Just two of you. God, okay. Two of you bold enough to say yes. Yes, I've been there. I've done some dumb things for love. I want to tell you about the time that I met my wife, who unfortunately is not here today. We've battling sick kids at home. So, honey, I love you. You're probably not watching this because sick kids. I'll fill you in later. So we met in 2007 at this Christian ministry internship, and it was one of those internships that is it was more like a year-long summer camp, actually. You paid to be there, and then you worked for them. Great deal. It was a great deal. But about 600 18, 19, 20-year-olds descended upon this small town in Texas from all over the U.S., and though I was very much there for Jesus, there was certainly 2% of me that was like, maybe my wife is here. I don't know. And so, Lord, love you, God, love you, here for you. But also, I was looking. I was shopping. Who's available? Technically, everybody's available because you're not allowed to date while here. And I'll never forget the first time I saw her. We were sitting in this big auditorium, a little bit larger than this, and I was sitting on the right side, and I turn my head, I look over my left shoulder, and I see this girl, and I just thought, wow, she's beautiful. But she was flanked by two other two other boys who did not look like me. I was skinny and scrawny, and they looked like college linebackers. And I thought, well, if that's what she's into, then I have no chance. But wow, what a specimen. She's beautiful. And I made it my mission. I'm going to meet this girl, and we'll just see what happens. We got 12 months here, stuck in this tiny town in Texas. There's not much else to do. And so let's just see what happens. So I just began to look for her everywhere we went. And technically, our first conversation, she didn't even look at me. We were standing on the edge of this football field, and it was like the interns playing a game against the staff, and I was taking photos with this little crappy camera, and my crappy camera was being crappy and wasn't working. And up walks Tessa right next to me. She's actually a professional photographer, so she had a big, expensive camera, and she's taking photos, and I thought, oh my gosh, here's my chance. And so I said, man, my camera's not working. Great pickup line, by the way. Great pickup line. Yeah. Man, my camera's not working. And without looking at me, she's just like, snap, snap, looks at her camera, and she's like, yo, I could send you some. And then turns around and walks off. And I was like, yes, we had a conversation. I'm getting closer. And then you can't stop thinking about her, just like infatuated at this point. Well, then I meet this other girl named Kate, and Kate was cool. I was not attracted to Kate, but Kate was cool. She liked football. I remember she was wearing a Chicago Bears hat, and I was like, oh, Chicago Bears. She's like, yeah, I'm from Chicago. And we were friends, and lo and behold, this Kate was roommates with Tessa. It's like, okay. We're getting somewhere. Now, I mentioned this ministry internship. It was in Texas, but people from all over the U.S. moved here for 12 months to be a part of this. And so most people did not have a vehicle, but I lived an hour and a half down the road, so I had a vehicle, a 2004 F-150 to be exact. And so one day, this is, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks into this internship, my friend Kate comes up to me and says, "Hey, I heard you have a car." I was like, "That I do." And she says, "Well, we're trying to find someone who would take us into town to go to this coffee shop." "Who's we?" And she's like, "Well, my roommate Tessa, do you know her?" I don't know Tessa. I'm open to knowing Tessa, but I don't personally know Tessa. So I invite a couple buddies. Kate and Tessa climb into my truck, and I'm like, this is it. This is the day. And so we drive into town and go into this little coffee shop. I didn't even drink coffee at that point in my life, by the way. It was like, wherever you're going, I will be there. Let's just go. You need a ride? I will take you. And so we're standing in line, and I'm like, "So what are you getting?" And she's like, "I'm getting a chai latte." I was like, "What is that?" And she's like, "You've never heard of a chai latte?" She's from Washington State, and I'm from Texas. I'm like, "What's a chai? Is that a word? You're making stuff up." And she's like, "You got to try it. It's amazing." And so it just kind of went from there. And so I tried a chai. I do like chai. Chai is great. If you've not had chai, you should try it. It's lovely. And so we hit it off, and for the next several weeks, I just wanted to be wherever she was. Wherever she was, everywhere we went, I was looking for her. "Where are you?" Wanted to strike up a conversation, constant. And then about 3 weeks in, maybe 3 or 4 weeks in, my mom comes to visit. Again, I lived an hour and a half away. My mom comes to visit. I'm like, "Hey, I got to introduce you to this friend of mine named Tessa." And she later tells me, my mom later tells me, much later, she's like, "Yeah, I knew when I met Tessa then that was going to be your wife." And I'm like, "You didn't tell me?" She was like, "I didn't want to make it weird and project." She's like, "But I just knew." I was like, that's my son's wife. So you praying moms out there, lean into that. Lean into your prophetic prayers. You have sons, you have daughters that are looking. And around that time, though, we had communicated feelings very indirectly, which again also wasn't allowed. And so we kind of got in a little bit of trouble. But the problem was, the trouble came because Tessa went back to her roommate, Kate, and was like, "Oh, so this thing kind of happened. Derek and I are like, sort of, I think he likes me. I think I like him. I don't know." Well, then Kate ratted us out. And yeah, Kate rats us out. And so Tessa and I are literally banned from talking to each other. They wouldn't let us talk to each other for like 4 months. We definitely talked to each other, but we were not supposed to talk to each other. Actually, funny enough, I have a photo of, that's Tessa and Kate, by the way. This was before we got in trouble. I actually had a photo from that first coffee date that I couldn't find. This was the next earliest photo. This is about 3 or 4 weeks after I met Tessa. I think my mom took this photo. This is when my mom met Tessa and was like, "I think I met my son's wife." So we get in trouble. I think I later realized, I think Kate was actually into me, but that was not reciprocal, and she was maybe a little used. I'm sorry. But I've been married for almost 16 years and got 4 kids, so success. Love, I say all that, one, because I wanted to relive the moment and go down memory lane, and so thanks for going there with me. But also because love, when we think about love culturally, what it means, like love is such an interesting word. Such an interesting word. You know that song, that old song, that goes, "What the world needs now is love." You know it. Yeah, come on, sing it out. "It's the only thing that there's just too little of," right? So you've heard this song. Except that's wrong. Hot take. That's wrong. This was obviously written by someone who has a scarcity mindset about love. But actually, that phrase is true if we are the source of love. If I am the source of love, that's absolutely true. There's too little of it. If we are the source of love, of course there's too little of it because we are pulling on the wrong source. Here's the problem, that when we say love, we all mean different things. Different things come to mind. Most of what we call love today didn't come from God, unfortunately. It comes from cultural influences. You know, when I say something like, I love my wife, and then in the same sentence I say, and I love burritos, those are two very different kinds of loves, right? That's not the same thing. To say, I love the Broncos and I love my son. Like, that's different things. Which, by the way, go Broncos. The dominant definition of love in our culture, this is part of the issue, is not sacrifice. It's actually self-justification. Meaning that my view of love is the reference point. Love as I see fit. So love when it's convenient, and when it's no longer working for you, then you can bail. Anybody experienced this before? There's kind of a tragic story of a friend of mine. He was in ministry, married, had 3 kids, and then decided to leave his family for a younger woman from the youth group. Yeah, it was really messy and really ugly. Shocked us all. And by the way, if you're here, first of all, one, I'm glad you're here. 2, but if you're here and you've been on either side of infidelity, first of all, I want you to know that you're loved, you're accepted here. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so this is not me trying to put shame or guilt or condemnation on anybody, as I share part of this story. But when we hear things like that, especially people close to us, it's shocking. We go, how could that happen? But honestly, we shouldn't be that surprised, because when the culture says that you can define love, that you get to say what works for you and what doesn't, then when things are inconvenient, yeah, of course, like, you know what, this isn't working for him anymore, I'm out. So before we go any further, we have to slow down and ask a really basic question. That is, what kind of love are we talking about? What kind of love are we talking about? A love that's defined and characterized by who? Saying that, just love is love, it doesn't mean anything when the ultimate standard of love is our own individual wants and personal feelings. When love has no source outside of us, it becomes impossible to disagree with ourselves. Because if love is defined by my feelings, my needs, my convenience, then guess what? Love will always change. It will always change, day by day, moment by moment. But if love comes from God, then love has a fixed center. God is the only unchanging source and standard of love. Period, full stop. And once you see that God is the source and standard of love, you start to notice that not all love functions the same way. Here's what I mean. I want to show you a few different examples. There are kind of several expressions of love. Many of us, if not all of us, have experienced some of these to some degree. So let's talk about it. Love A says that if you scratch my back, then I'll scratch yours. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, which is reactionary self-interest. Meaning I'm only going to give to you what you have first given to me. So I'm not making the first move, but if you make a move, then I'll do something for you. You scratch my back, then I'll scratch yours. And it's a reaction, and it's interested in really only what I get out of it. Does it make sense? That's love A, okay? Love B says if I scratch your back, then you'll be more likely to scratch mine, which is a civilized self-interest. It's still about what I want, what I get out of it, which is a little more civilized. And you're going first. I'll scratch your back, but really the intention is like, I'm hoping to get something out of this later. It's not really self-giving. It's I'm looking for something in return. Love A thinks, I will give having already gotten from you. Love B thinks, I will give secretly hoping to get something in return. Right? Listen, I have done this, by the way. Taking someone to coffee, taking someone to lunch, footing the bill, hoping next time they foot the bill. Hey, I paid for lunch last time. Why don't you pick up lunch this time? Giving secretly hoping to get something in return. Now, here's the part that honestly should make most of us a little uncomfortable. Most of us live our lives somewhere between love A and love B. Really. Most of us stay in that zone. And if we get to love B, we say, oh, that's a more mature person because at least they went first, right? I made the first move. But still under the surface, I'm still secretly hoping to get something in return. This is why Jesus was very interested in what motivates your heart, right? He said things like, you've heard it said, don't kill, but I say if you even look at someone with hate in your heart, you've basically committed murder. He was very interested in what's in the heart, right? Now, there is a third avenue. We'll call this love C. Love C says, I will scratch your back without expecting anything back. I'll scratch your back without expecting anything back. This is selfless, sacrificial action. And we reserve this love for family, if we're close to our family, or if we like our family. We also reserve it for kind of close friends, best of friends. Right? I'll scratch your back, but I'm not expecting anything back. In John 15:13, Jesus says, no, there is no greater love than this, than a man lay down his life for his friends. Right? Love C, I'll scratch your back without expecting anything back. This is the Jesus kind of love. But there is an even greater form of love that surpasses all of our greatest extent, all of humanity's greatest extent of love. Jesus doesn't just stop there. He actually introduces a kind of love that no human system can sustain. Love D, we'll call this, just to follow the alphabet. Love D says, I will scratch your back even if you stab me in the back. I'll scratch your back even when you stab me in the back. This is selfless and supernatural enemy love. This is about helping the person who's hurt you the most. It's about blessing the person who has betrayed you. It's about serving the person who can't stand you. And it's about praying for the person who is persecuting you. Love D, this feels like a love from another world because it is from another world. And this is nobody's default. There is not a single person in here who defaults to love D, I promise you. If you've breathed air for longer than 5 seconds, you know love D does not just naturally flow out of us. Wow, you spit in my face. Here's $10. Thanks for doing that. See you later. Punch me, you get 20. Most of us live our lives between love A and love B, and we have some understanding for love C. I think there are elements of us that could white knuckle a love C. Love D is not possible unless God is in the middle of it, unless his love supernaturally empowers you to do it. This is probably one of the most radical teachings of Jesus, and what separates, I think, Christianity from most every other religion is our God says, I don't just want you to do good, be good. I'm actually going to become you, even when you resist me. I'm going to put on flesh, knowing full well you're going to spit in my face, murder me, and I'm going to do it anyway. Just in case we think Jesus is exaggerating or being poetic, he spells it out pretty clearly in Luke chapter 6 that we read earlier. In Luke 6, Jesus basically dismantles every version of love that we instinctively trust. And so I want to read some of this again. Luke 6:32 says, if you love those who love you, what benefit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, we're talking about love A, what benefit is that to you? And if you lend to those from whom you expect to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to get back the same amount. Talking about love B now. But love your enemies and do good. Love D there. And lend, expecting nothing in return. Love C. And your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High, for he is kind to the ungrateful and the evil. And this is where Christmas changes everything. Because Jesus didn't just talk about this love. He actually embodied it. He didn't sit up on a throne in heaven talking about love. He put on flesh and dwelt among us. It's one thing to teach this kind of love. It's another thing entirely to display it. The life-changing message of Christmas is that God didn't just declare his love, he demonstrated it. This is like that scene from The Office where Michael Scott realizes that he's broke as a joke, and Oscar's like, you need to declare bankruptcy. And so he walks out of his office and he just says, I declare bankruptcy! Right?
I didn't say it.
He didn't obviously get the memo or the picture, though. There's some other steps you have to do to declare bankruptcy. Like, God wasn't just up on his throne going, I declare my love for you! He became a human. As I look at my 9-month-old son, I'm just like, Jesus was this size one time. Babbling and like not making any sense and pooping his pants and throwing up on his mom and his dad. Like, that's how much he loved us. He loved you. As he became a person, he's like, it's not enough for me to just say it. I need to show them, I need to show my creation, my people in such a way that every single year they're going to celebrate it. They're going to celebrate me coming to earth as a child. John 3:16, most of the world, maybe not most of the world, probably the most famous verse I think anybody quotes, right? John 3:16 says, God so loved the world that he gave. He gave his only son. He gave his son to a world that turned its back on him. God didn't give his son to people who were trying harder. He gave his son to people who were actively resisting him. God gave his very best, and his very best was himself. He gave himself. And Christ-like love is that kind of love. It is a generous giving, expecting nothing in return, and even love to those that you maybe kind of don't want to show love to, that have wronged you. And if we're honest, this is where love gets hard. Really, really hard, because God's love sounds beautiful until he asks us to show it in real relationships. It's nice to talk about love in theory. It's much easier to love the principle of love, but not the people. Right? This is why there's no perfect churches, because people are in them. We're here. So as long as we're here, it's going to be a little messy. It's going to be a little messed up. The principle of love, it doesn't disappoint you. Principle of love doesn't say harsh things to you. The principle of love never wounds you, and it never makes mistakes. But you know what does? People. Me, you, we do that. We say harsh things. We disappoint people. We wound and we make mistakes. And the people who wound us most are usually the ones we thought love would protect us from. We all tend to agree with our need to love until we need to love. We agree with it in principle until we actually have to put it into practice. And this is why the source of our love matters so much, because love does not just flow out of us randomly. It flows from what's shaping our desires. It flows from what's shaping our desires. Look, there's a fair amount of philosophers, sure, and a fair amount of kind of even new science that's shaping some things, and I think helping us become aware of actually who we are and how we are, if that makes sense. In the Enlightenment age, that famous line said, I think, therefore I am. Right? I think, therefore I am. That which still pervades much of Western thought is like, if I just think a particular way, then I am that way, right? But there's a lot of evidence that flies actually in the face of that, that you are not what you think, you are what you love.
Whoa, come on. So good. This is so good.
You are not what you think, you are what you love. And more specifically, you are what you love what your loves love. So who you love matters a whole lot because who you love shapes what you love. This is why parenting is so important and like why we see so many children oftentimes follow in the footsteps of their moms and dads because they go, well, I watched my parents love this, and so now I love this, right? My parents love this, so I love it. If there's a good, connection and relationship there. Who you love and what they love often determines what you love. There's a guy by the name of Rene Girard. He wrote about this idea called mimetic desire. Mimetic desire. Mimetic desire says you don't actually want things on your own. You learn what to want by watching other people want them. You know how I know this? Anybody ever bought something because they saw an influencer rep it on social media? Never? No? Few of you? This is the consequences of social media, right? We go, well, I like that person and they like that, so therefore I like that. And I now have to have it. Yes, here's all my money. Your identity comes from the group that you identify with, not the other way around.
Wow.
We think we're far more autonomous than we actually are, which if you feel like you're a smart person is a little bit of a gut check to go, hey, wait a minute. I shape my own person. I think, therefore I am. I don't think so. Your identity comes from the group you identify with, not the other way around. Meaning that desire is copied, not created.
Whoa.
Desire is copied, not created. We think this is all just me and myself, and I think, therefore I am. No, really, it's what you love ends up determining. Who you love ends up determining what you love. Which means learning to love like Jesus requires staying close enough to Jesus that his desires start shaping yours. This is why I think that verse, Psalm 37:4, it says, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. I think the order of that is super important. Because God knows if you are delighting in him, then his desires become your desires. And so therefore, of course, he wants to give you the desires of your heart because the desires of your heart are his desires. Because you are delighting yourself in him. This makes sense? So when Jesus says there's no greater love than laying down your life, he's not just giving us a moral ideal. He is inviting us into a completely different way of being human.
So good.
That requires his supernatural love in you because you can't conjure it up. You can't conjure that kind of love up. I want to go ahead and invite the band on up. There's this, as I've been thinking about this message and thinking about the love of God and what that means and what it's like and how to even communicate that. I'll tell you, the first time I was invited to preach, I was 19 or 20. And I remember asking the pastor, when do you want me to be done? And he was like, go till you're done. I was like, big mistake. Because I was 19 or 20 and thought I knew everything. And the topic was love. I talked about the love of God. And I preached, I'm not joking, for 2 hours. This was like 20 minutes, 25. I've gotten a little better since then. 2 hours, yeah. I don't know what the heck I thought I had to say about the love of God at 20 years old. Nevertheless, there's this old hymn. It's probably one of my favorite hymns. And there's a verse in this hymn. The hymn is called Love of God. Anybody heard this hymn, Love of God? There's this verse that I want to read, and it just hits me every time when I think about the love of God. The words are going to be on the screen. And it says, it's a little, it's older English, so stay with me here. It says, could we with ink the ocean fill, and were the skies of parchment made, with every stalk on earth a quill, and every man a scribe by trade. To write the love of God above would drain the ocean dry, nor could the scroll contain the whole, though stretched from sky to sky. It's basically saying there is not enough paper, there is not enough ink to write and expound on the love of God, the amount of love that he has for you and for us. There is no amount of writing that could contain it. There's no amount of art that could emanate it. There's no amount of music that could capture the amount of love that our living God has for you. Nothing comes close. And we'll spend the rest of our days, and this church will spend the rest of its life trying to emanate and embody and put back out into the world the love of God. We'll fail time and time again, but we're going to do our darndest. You're going to do your darndest to experience and know this love and perpetuate it in your everyday life. Before there was time, before there was creation, there was a God that existed in this communal, self-giving love between Father, Son, and Spirit. And there was so much of it, so much love, that he wanted to share it. He's like, this is just, there's so much love between us. Where can we put this love towards? So much love that they had to create the world and men and women and go, yeah, this is where we're going to pour out our love. This is where we're going to show our love. Father, Son, and Spirit in unison as one. Going so much love that's spilling out. We have to direct it somewhere. I think the best, in my opinion, I think the best marriages that I've seen are ones where the spouses wake up each day saying, how extravagantly can I love my spouse today? Every day, getting up and just asking that question. It doesn't mean you're always doing big gestures, by the way. It just means you're saying, what can I give instead of what can I get?
Good.
What can I give instead of what can I get? And look, I'll be honest, I fail more times than I care to admit at that very thing. Most days I wake up going, who's going to love me? Who's going to serve me? Who's going to meet my needs? Who's looking out for me? But on the good days, when I put my head on straight and I ask the Lord to help, I go, what can I give today instead of what can I get? How can I serve my wife? How can I love my kids? How can I love my team? How can I love this church instead of looking for what can I get out of it and expecting nothing in return? No greater love than this, and somebody lays down their life for a friend. But taking that even further, no greater love than that, than someone who looks in the eyes of their enemy, who they think is their enemy, and says, I bless you. I pray for favor over you. I pray good things. I hope good things happen to you today. That unlocks something in your heart when you begin to pray those kinds of prayers over people who hurt you. Or would you just bless them? Would you overwhelm them with your goodness and blessing today? I pray every good thing happens to them. That sets you free. That sets you free to love like God loves. But it's only if his love is in you that you even have the possibility of doing that. And so as we come to a close, I want to invite you to stand if you're able. I want to invite the prayer team on up. If you're on the prayer team, you come on forward. And I want to ask this question. I want you to ask this question, really. The question is this: who is God inviting you to love this way right now? We don't want to just talk about love or do a sermon or a talk about love. I actually want to put something into practice, like give it some teeth. Who is God inviting you to love this way right now? I'd be willing to bet most of us have at least a person in mind as we think about this. As we think about somebody who's hurt us, somebody who's cursed us. somebody who can't stand you. And God's saying, it's those people, I love them too, and I want you to love them too. Who's God inviting you to love this way right now? And so we're going to just leave some room up here. We got plenty of time. Band's going to play and sing and worship, and maybe that's how you need to respond, is just in worship to King Jesus, thanking him for his love. When I have a hard time praying, the prayer I just pray on repeat is, Jesus, I love you, and thank you for loving me. Jesus, I love you, thank you for loving me. And I'll repeat that over and over and over again until I actually start to mean it and experience it. Jesus, I love you, thank you for loving me. And maybe that's what you need today, is just to pray that prayer. We're going to sing a bit. Prayer team's up here. If you need prayer for anything this morning, I invite you to come and pray with somebody. If you're here and you go, I've never experienced a love like that, I don't know that a love like that actually exists, and you're willing to maybe put your faith and trust in this God we've been talking about, then I invite you to come up and pray with someone as well. You go, I don't know that love, but I want to know that love.
Come on.
I don't know that love, but I want to know that love. I want to know that that's real and true. So I invite you all to respond. So Jesus, we just thank you for your love. We thank you for what we celebrate today. That you did not just sit up on your throne, yelling down from heaven, I love you. But you put on flesh. You dwelt among us. You suffered a horrible death. That's how great your love is for your people. Would you help us to receive that love today? We want to receive that love. We can't give that kind of love until we have first received that love. And so may we receive that love today. In Jesus' name. So let's take a few minutes and respond.